Brace yourself. Better pass up anytime now. Collect yourself. Things will never be the same in a sad, sad world. Walk around the light a bit, trying to make the pieces fit to a puzzle with a million missing pieces. When I'm feeling fine is when I discover that I'm afraid to blow my cover, and there's something very wrong with this. So slip back in your hole.
All right, good morning, everybody. Good to be with you today. We are continuing our journey through the aftermath of the Iliad, and it was quite an experience yesterday. We said our fond farewell to the great runner, the swift runner, Achilles. I'm interested to hear reactions to the death of Achilles from a few of you. I've got a couple in mind that I know have strong feelings here that I'm going to call on, and I'm going to open it up to whoever'd like to say something. But right now, because I have a feeling where it's going to go, I want to hear Leandronis first. Leandronis, come join us. Yeah. So the swift runner Achilles, go.
About his death?
Or him, the experience of being with Achilles.
So, first of all, Achilles, I have very mixed feelings about him. On one hand, he's one of my favorites. On the other, I'm kind of pissed about Penthesilea. About his death, I'm also kind of pissed about that. Paris is a coward. As Achilles said, he should have gone and faced him up front and died. And I hope he dies.
So I do. Dolly, you think it was perfectly fitting that Paris is the one that killed Achilles, right?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
I understand, like, no matter what, Achilles was gonna die. It doesn't matter. But, like, of all the ways for him to go out, it has to be Paris. Paris just being like, I'm so far away, and I'm just gonna, a little shot, sneak it right in there, while he's just chilling. It's like, he could have died in, like, a more honorable way. He could have died in any other way, except from Paris.
Did you catch, it was such an emotional moment that I didn't want to stop and point it out, but in the middle of the final words we had to say about Achilles is an ancient joke. The sources for Achilles' death, the actual death scene on that slide, I brought together Apollodorus Bibliotheca and then the Roman poet Ovid's Metamorphoses. And it's Ovid who commented, if he had to be killed by a woman in war, he would have rather it have been Penthesilea. Now, if you're don't like the gender bias implicit in that, I get that, but it's 2,000 years ago, and hopefully you get that. But so I think that's a really good joke. It's a really good joke, even though it's 2,000 years old. Rat Maggot, come. Thank you, Leandronis. Come up here. I know you've got. What is your experience of walking or trying to keep up with the swift runner Achilles?
I can't keep up with him.
You can't, but you can hold the microphone for yourself.
Okay. I think he's so right calling Paris a woman. Because Paris, he couldn't do it without Apollo, and he did it from so far away. And he didn't even come up afterwards. He didn't, at least rub it in his face. He ran away with Achilles' slave woman.
That's a great observation. But I know you have pretty strong feelings about Achilles himself in general. Do you not? Say a bit about that.
But what? Specifically.
Okay, so...
Thank you.
Achilles is a whiny, bratty scumbag. He's a bad person. It's good that he's dead. To what extent do you agree with that? Justify your answer.
I agree with everything except the part that it's good that he's dead.
Okay, why?
Because granted, they did do it with, they're great. The Achaeans, But Achilles was, their best one. And I just think he's so selfish and annoying, even though whatever. He's their best fighter. He did the war and like got them through like the first 9 years. And then he got mad about a woman and then cried for a week.
The last time you and I talked about this, you were much more positive about Achilles. You were saying, I love Achilles, or he's my favorite, or something like that. Is that...
He's not my favorite. Uh-huh.
Do you hate him?
No.
Don't look at me like you're like trying to figure out what I want you to say. So,
Thank you.
I tried to design our experience of Achilles to mimic my initial in-depth experience with Achilles. When I was first preparing to teach this class, I had read pieces of the Iliad 20 years earlier in an anthology of, for a college English course or something like that. So I knew the very rough basics, and then half of the rough basics that I knew turned out to be wrong. So I opened the Iliad to read it in depth for the first time. Rage, got to sing the rage of Peleus' son Achilles. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, this is all about Achilles, and I'm expecting to see a superhero, right? So when I can't tell you the word I used to describe him when I was talking to my brother in the middle of reading the Iliad for the first time, other than I was just shocked that that's not what the Iliad was, that we weren't seeing great heroics on the part of Achilles, that we were seeing all these character flaws on the part of Achilles. And it left me with a bad taste in my mouth for the character until he came back. And then until we saw the level of his heartbreak over Patroclus, and then that began to humanize him in my eyes. Not justify his choices. None of us can justify all of our choices. To be humanized is to have made some unjustifiable choices, but to make his choices more understandable. So I kind of tried to recreate that arc a bit in the way we present him. I don't give you much background heroics about Achilles. We just launch in and start, and I let you find out right from the beginning what Achilles is really like and the fit he's going to throw. And I let you go in real time, 3-4 weeks. Like, we haven't heard from this guy since book 1. We haven't heard from this guy in 150 pages. Why is the book about him? He's so immature. He's so selfish. He's so whiny. And then we have the conversation that begins to humanize him, and that's when I introduce things about his deep background, his relationship with his father, his constant desire to be the kind of man that would make an absentee father proud, and all of that, to try to build some sympathy for him in you, if that's how you respond to it, and then so that when the Patroclus death happens and Achilles crumbles, you're now able to relate to that and experience some empathy. And I think in that moment where I'm playing the character Achilles crumpled up on the floor against the wall, I hope that worked. It has worked in the past to help students build a connection with the character in time to see what happens and how his story arc finishes. Anyone else have thoughts on Achilles, on the death of Achilles? I want to, just a real quick something. This is something I only learned in preparing to teach this year, so the last couple years didn't have the benefit of this. It's just a little trivia, but it's interesting and relevant. So, appalling Paris, our Prince of Beauty, mad for women, he lures them all to their ruin. And the one he gets to be the one to kill the hero. The line here, appalling Paris, that epithet that Homer uses a few times, at least 2 that I know of, and maybe more, and then I use it every time we say his name. In order to say that, in order to say what Robert Fagles translates as appalling Paris, Homer created a whole new word. He invented the word dusperis, or to say it Englishy, disparis. This and Dyson got it. She's already laughing. This dis is the same dis as in dysfunction and dystopia. A dystopia, so from now on I'm going to define dystopia as an appalling place, and I'm going to define dysfunction as ordered appallingly or functioning appallingly. And so we have a whole new word. I guess it's not that new. It's 2,775 years old. Thank you, Rat Maggot. Thank you, Rat Maggot. We're going to pick up now with the story, just as in the past couple days. When you're looking on the screen, white print represents readings from ancient sources, and yellow will be from me. So, brutal combat erupts over the body of Achilles. Just as Achilles wanted to maim and shame the corpse of Hector, now the Trojans want to do the same to Achilles' body. That's probably always been part of the myth, but one thing you'll notice if you ever read Quintus Murnaeus especially is some things that we would consider plagiarism or near plagiarism are pretty standard in ancient literature. That when you're paying tribute to an older great work, because Smyrnaeus is 1,200 years later than Homer, when an ancient writer is paying tribute, he's going to match the original a lot more closely than makes it comfortable for us. So you'll see the same thing. We saw that yesterday. All right, Quintus Smyrnaeus wants to talk about Achilles' last rampage. Well, it needs to pay tribute to his previous rampage, his greatest rampage in Homer. So what happens? He starts filling up the rivers with corpses again. You see a lot of that in Smyrnaeus. It's great Ajax who takes the lead in fighting off the Trojans. And then it's Odysseus who takes advantage of the opening that Ajax has built to carry the body back to the Achaean camp. Ajax also, where's my Ajax? Come on, Rat Maggot, back up. Ajax also, and you get to get into it here. So, Ajax also smashes Paris' face with a rock. But, I regret to inform you, Paris survives. Ajax shouted after him in his vexation.
Do I hold it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You dog, you have invaded the heavy hand of death today, but very soon your final hour shall come, either at another Argive's hand or at mine. Now a different matter weighs on my mind, to rescue Achilles' body for the Danaans from this slaughter.
Teachers, please pardon the interruption. Just a note to all middle schoolers, today's dance is school uniform or dress up. Dress up means no jeans, no sweatpants, no windbreakers, no t-shirts. You need to be wearing a shirt with a collar, and you need to be wearing slacks or pants. No jeans, no sweatpants, no windbreakers, no hoodies, no t-shirts. Thank you.
The moral of that announcement is therefore, please go back in time and have gotten dressed differently this morning. All right, back to Iliad. You just stick around because you're going to speak again. At the camp, so that they rescue the body, and at the camp, first Thetis, mother of Achilles, and many of the prominent Achaeans pay tribute to the fallen hero. Glorious Ajax, with heavy heart, lamented.
Achilles, mighty bulwark of the Argive forces, you have died at Troy, far from the plains of Phthia, struck down by a cursed arrow from an unknown source, such as are shot into the fray by feeble men. For no one who trusts himself to handle a bulky shield, who has a skill to set a helmet on his temples properly for battle, wield a spear in his hand, and break the bronze upon the breast of a foe's, attacks and fights with arrows from a distance. If the man who struck you had met you face to face, he wouldn't have escaped your rushing spear unwounded. But doubtless it was Zeus's plan to effect all this. All that we labor to achieve he renders fruitless. Soon he will grant the Trojans victory over the Argives now that he has removed from us so great a bulwark. Oh, what a burden of sorrow Peleus will have to bear at home as he faces old age bereft of joy. The news alone may be enough to cut short his life, the better so for him to forget at once his grief. But should the evil report of his son not bring his death, bitter grief will afflict the wretched man's old age, eating out his heart with anguish beside his hearth. Peleus, whom the immortals favored most of all men, perfect joy gods never grant to surviving mortals.
It's suffering mortals. So I think that's the last one of those left. When I transferred the text from PDF to PowerPoint, I took it from a PDF of the full text. Every time there was a double F, it turned it into the square root signs. If 3 years later, I'm still, and I've gone through it several times each of the 3 years I've taught this course, and there it is right there. So no, it's not Sue square root of erring mortals. Such was the lament, his sorrowful lament for the son of Peleus. Take a seat. No one, absolutely no one, not one person. Agamemnon wept tears of mourning and moaned aloud for the grief that burned within his heart.
Son of Peleus, you are dead.
So here's what I want. Here's what I want, and let's see. Kayla Desi, Sarah Hill, come up here. How are you, Kayla Desi, Sarah Hill? Yeah. So I want you to make me a promise, okay? When I finally succumb to the ravages of finally succumb to the ravages of old age and die. I mean, hope this should be weeks from now, but when I finally succumb to the ravages of old age and die, I want you to speak at my funeral, and I want you to say, well, it's my funeral, so you can call me Jeff over my dead body, but it's my funeral, so I want you to look at the body and say, Jeff, you are dead. Will you do that for me?
Sure.
Okay. Kayla Destiny, Sahara Hill, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I was just funning you. Agamemnon says more. Come on up, John. Agamemnon wept tears of mourning and mourned aloud for the grief that burned within his heart.
Son of Peleus, you are dead. Your death has left the whole Achaean host defenseless. Now that you have perished, we are easier prey for our foes. Great joy your fall has brought to people of Troy, whose fear for you was like the fear of sheep for a lion. Now right beside our ships they'll fight with a will. Father Zeus, so even you with deceitful words beguile us. You who promised me that I would sack the city of Priam, now fulfilling nothing of that. You have deceived me utterly, for I cannot think that this war's goal will be attained with Achilles' dead.
So he expressed the grief of his heart, while round him the army bewailed with all their souls the valiant son of Peleus. The ships beside them echoed the sound of their laments. Immense was the noise that rose through the eternal air. Even here, Agamemnon's like, me, it's all about me. Now that you're dead, Achilles, I won't get what I want. And then he starts praying. Zeus, you're a liar. Father Zeus, you've lied to me. I hate you, Zeus. And, Zeus be like, right here, Agamemnon. Right here, King of kings and Lord of men. And then Achilles is laid on the funeral pyre. His body is burned, the rituals are performed, and his ashes are mingled with those of Patroclus, buried together in the same urn as requested. And then his life is celebrated by a lengthy round of athletic competitions, sport after sport after sport. Smyrnaeus has a whole book dedicated to this, just like Homer did. I'll provide you with the full text of Quintus Smyrnaeus, by the way, after, right now it's spoilery, but I will give you all of that stuff. Ajax and Odysseus, they have a fight, an argument, over who should get Achilles' sweet armor. Now remember, that armor was forged by the god Hephaestus. It is sweet armor, and the shield is just phenomenally awesome. And each of them is saying it should go to me because of the role I played in protecting the body. Ajax fought off the Trojans. Odysseus brought the body back. There's two of them. There's only one set of armor. So they start arguing, and the argument gets really weird and really mean. And Smyrnaeus gives an account of it at length, and so does Ovid. Ovid goes on, and they're like brutal. Odysseus is mocked because Odysseus is known for being clever and sneaky. Ajax is known for being strong, and he's not incredibly bright. And Odysseus seriously makes fun of him big time. And Athena's kind of... like classical studies too, folks who've read more of Odyssey. Athena's kind of... I'm not saying that Athena is in love with the mortal Odysseus, but she's kind of in love with the mortal Odysseus. You know, she's always taking his side. They're maybe they, you know, and things kind of take a things take a very dark turn. Lights, please.
When great men fall, gods, men, and beasts turn silent. Legends tell us that Ajax was struck by madness, victim of Athena's rage. Those who followed Ajax tell of signs that all was not well with their prince. Did it start the day he saw his cousin Achilles fall? That day he carved his way through the Trojan hordes, and with Odysseus' help, retrieved Achilles' body and carried it safely to his camp for proper burial. With the discovery of a narrow secret passage carved in the rock beneath Troy's walls, a passage used to bring supplies into the city, Ajax and Odysseus launched a daring, desperate raid of the Temple of Athena inside Troy to steal a relic known as the Palladium, which prophecy held must be taken from the temple if Troy were ever to fall. The Palladium was taken and Ajax carried it out of the city. Is it because of this sacrilege that Athena tricked his vision to see what was not there? Did she kindle the anger and despair that made him see enemies even when he gazed upon friends?
The kings of Greece insult me! I helped Odysseus bring Achilles' body, but he is awarded with Achilles' armor. I carry the Palladium, but Odysseus gets to keep it. What isn't given to Odysseus is given to your brother. I have earned my share of the glory too, but where is my reward?
Your words are seditious. You plot against us.
No, but I do claim my reward.
Traitor.
Menelaus. No. Stop. Menelaus. Arthur, stop!
What have you done? You've murdered the man you swore to protect.
Achilles? No. No, no. No, no. No.
Traitor! Your father will curse you!
Accept your fate, Ajax! You leave me no choice! Odysseus!
What have you done, Ajax?
I did everything you asked, Agamemnon! And you denied me my glory every time! This is your fault! You should be the one to bear the guilt!
You accuse your king? Then come, face me! What do you blame me for it? You have killed Odysseus, and my brother Menelaus!
Why is all this sent my way? What is happening to me?
Cousin, we should have taken together. You should not have fallen. I should not have let you fall.
What have I done? What's happening to me? What have I done? What have I done? What's happening? What's happening to me? So falls Ajax the Great. You caught what happened there. Athena cursed him with madness, so he's hallucinating. He's only surrounded by sheep, but he sees his fellow Achaeans. He sees his allies, and he sees them attacking him, so he fights back, and he kills all these sheep, but he thinks he's killed all of his allies, and so he commits suicide. Because there's, especially outside of Homer, there's no strict canon for these stories. They're told in different ways at different times by different people, which means other than the fact that all of these things happen after the death of Achilles and before, however, the war ends, what order they happen in is told differently by different writers. So the video opened up with the story of them stealing the Palladium, this idol of Athena. We're going to treat that as something that happens after the death of Ajax, and most of the sources I'm familiar with don't have it include Ajax, but it is a scheme of Diomedes. Well, I'll tell you what it is. So here's how it happens. So the war's dragging on. Weeks go by. Battle rages, 10 years, thousands of dead, no progress, nothing changes. Achaeans win battles, Trojans will win battles. This war will not end, but always helpful. Calchas the seer, remember Calchas? He's the seer. Does that help? Does that help?
Does that help? The prophet, very beginning, one told Agamemnon that he had to kill Iphigenia. Always helpful. Calchas the seer has a prophecy. We can win if we send then... Oh my goodness, we can win if I learn to read and type. Seriously, once you hear what that's supposed to say, we can win if we steal the Trojan Palladium, not send then. So is this idol of Athena, who, by the way, who does Athena side with? Yeah, the Achaeans, big time Achaeans. But the Trojans still worship her, and there is a magic associated with the idol that, no individual Greek god is all-powerful. So there are certain magics that bind them in certain ways. So Athena's not allowed to let Troy be destroyed as much as she wants it, so long as they have the magic statue. And it's Odysseus who comes up with the plan. And when Odysseus goes on a side quest, his partner is almost always Diomedes, Lord of the War Cry, my main man. So this time, Odysseus says, okay, here's Diomedes, here's what you got to do. You've got to beat the crap with me. Or beat the crap out of me. Apparently I can't speak in addition to can't read. You've got to beat the crap out of me. I mean, like, take out a bullwhip and whip me bloody. And then I will dress up in rags, and I will sneak into Troy and tell them that I'm a prisoner of war and I just escaped the Achaeans. And hopefully they'll take me in, and that'll give me a chance to find the Palladium. So that happens. Odysseus sneaks into Troy. And Helen sees him. And Helen's like, maybe I could score some points with the Achaeans too. Tell you what, Odysseus, you just remember that I helped you, so that if you guys win, you take care of me, okay? And Helen, not my favorite character, Helen helps Odysseus to successfully steal the Palladium and bring it back. And once he does that, Athena, once he's got it in his hand, now Athena can pop up, and she starts slaughtering Trojan guards for him to help him get back out of the city. He gets out of the city, rounds up some troops, and now the troops start making progress. Now, when they hack at the wall of Troy, it starts to crumble. It starts to respond. Trojans are showering them with arrows, but they do this turtle formation where they scrunch together and put their shields up, and so the arrows aren't doing anything. Until the Trojan warrior Aeneas. Guys, we finally get to see Aeneas do something awesome. Homer keeps telling us he's awesome, and then has him break his fingernail, and his mommy comes and saves him. Aeneas gets up on the top of the wall, and he lifts this massive boulder. Dolly, what do you think about whether any of us would be able to do that?
I mean, weak as men are today, we can't.
Yeah, weak as men are today, no way, Homer, no way, Jose. Aeneas throws the massive boulder down from the walls of Troy, massive enough that it squishes all of the soldiers who were actually making progress, hacking into the wall. So, crap, I guess the statue wasn't the thing. Oh, and they run away. So weeks go by. Battle rages. 10 years, thousands of dead. No progress. Nothing changes. Achaeans win battles. Trojans win battles. This war will never end. Always helpful. Calchas the seer has a prophecy. We can win if we send for Neoptolemus, also known as Pyrrhus, the son of Achilles. Now, remember, trying to make perfect sense of timelines in myth is a losing battle. It seems like Neoptolemus should be 10 or 11. He's not portrayed that way. He's portrayed as very young. He's probably, you get the feel of like a 14 or 15-year-old from Neoptolemus. To try to make sense of that in your head canon, and even in ancient writers' head canons, they would theorize that the amount of time the ships were stuck at Aulis before they invaded Troy, they just keep extending that. Some have said, well, they must have been stuck there for 10 years. I don't know. But anyway, Neoptolemus, they go get Neoptolemus. He is a great warrior. He's a chip off the old block. He's not Achilles level, but he is a great warrior. He's also an arrogant, mean, nasty little turd of a guy. Oh, but weeks go by. Battle rages. Neoptolemus, but still, thousands of dead, no progress, nothing changes. Achaeans win battles, Trojans win battles. This war will not end. Always helpful. Calchas the seer has a prophecy. We can win if we get the golden bow of Hercules. I know I should be calling him Heracles in a Greek context, but I should also be calling Ajax Aias, and I'm not going to do that. So we go get the golden bow of Hercules. Well, where's the golden bow of Hercules? Well, what had happened was on the very day that the Achaeans land at Troy, first warrior off the Achaean ships is the mighty Philoctetes. You know how much we've talked about the mighty Philoctetes in here, right? What'd you say? We've not talked about the mighty Philoctetes because he's the first man off the ship and a snake bites his foot. And the wound festers. And the wound smells so bad that Agamemnon, King of Kings and Lord of Men, banishes the first man off the ship to an island, to exile on an island all by himself. And there he is sat in solitary exile for 10 years. But he happens to have, because reasons, the golden bow of Hercules. So Odysseus and Neoptolemus, and in some accounts Diomedes, my main man, Lord of the War Cry, sail to the island of Lemnos, have a nice conversation with Philoctetes. He's not about to give up the golden bow of Hercules. So Odysseus, through a convoluted path, and there's an entire play by Sophocles called Philoctetes. I will send you a link to it if you'd like to watch it. Through this convoluted series of things, Odysseus does the Odysseus thing, and he tricks him. He tricks him into giving up the golden bow of Hercules. And then they're like, all right, screw you, buddy. You know, we could have killed you, so enjoy your lifetime in solitary confinement. And there are two versions of what happens next. And I like them both, but I like one of them better. In one version, Hercules, who by this time has had the rare privilege of being divinized, a mortal that is made into a god. Hercules appears and he says, you're taking him with you. You're taking him with you. You're not leaving him here. I like that because we never actually get Hercules in the story because he's dead before it begins. But I like the second version better because Diomedes, my main man, Lord of the War Cry, is just like, dude, you can't just leave him here. Don't be a dick. Take him with us. And Odysseus gives in. I like that version better. And now that they have the golden bow of Hercules, now it's time to tear down that... Nope. Weeks go by. Battle rages. 10 years. Thousands of dead. No progress. Nothing changes. Achaeans win battles. Trojans win battles. This war will not end. Always helpful, Calchas the seer has a prophecy. We can win if, at which point Odysseus is all like, I got this. I have a plan, says Odysseus. Now hear me out. This might sound crazy. It's all I need from you for today. The rest of the time is yours.
trying to make the pieces fit to a puzzle with a million missing pieces. When I'm feeling fine is when I discover that I'm afraid to blow my cover, and there's something very wrong with this. So slip back in your hole, or get back in your cave. If I'm going down, I'm taking